Quest. There we go. All right, you guys, do me a favor. Everyone who's coming in, send this out to 5 people. You know the ritual. YouTube world as well too. We're going live. Yes, sir, my people. Yeah, send this out to 5 people. So I get this going down. Mute this. Make sure. There we go. This one should be connected, but it's not yet. Or maybe I gotta mute this one. There we go. Now we're good. What? Good morning, everybody. We got everybody rolling in Motivation Mondays. Make sure we get wavy. Yes, sir. DJ Outbreak. How's everybody doing? We are live at Motivation Mondays. Lil Beretti, what's good? You got a show and some details to do. Ryder, what's good? Top of the morning, Motivation Mondays. Yes, sir. Oh, thank God it went through. Oh no, wrong one. Don't worry about that right here. I'm just gonna type it in real quick. As everyone's going, everyone do me a favor, send this out to 5 people real quick. I'm gonna make sure I get our topics in here real quick. How you doing though, Max?
I'm good, can't complain. Productive weekend, you know. Like always, so I didn't play football yesterday, so I got some time to relax.
Okay, good. Did football still happen, or was it still one of those?
No, it didn't happen. We just decided, the boys decided that it was raining the night before, and then we're like, yeah, that's something that we don't want to do today, so it happened. So we decided to call it in for the day.
My brother, Crazy Chris, yeah. Obviously, you know me, my weekends get wild and crazy. The day parties are back. Crazy Chris, I just joined in. Me and him shut down that day party. But yeah, I think Toronto's happy to be back outside. The guy yesterday, the day party, he entered in a horse. Yeah. I don't know if everyone saw that online. Give me 1 second, let me just get in the copy and paste so I don't have these problems. And shout out to my brother Crazy Chris. If you know about his business, he's now taking it downtown. So that's a big move right there. All right, there we go. All right, so today, guys, we're going to have an open discussion about risk factors, about investments. We're going to get into real estate. We're going to talk about the pros and cons, what to look out for, usually things that happen, and then discuss some more other stuff in depth. But next week is Father's Day, so we're going to have a big Father's Day episode. We'll have a special guest, Randy Osei, CEO and founder of Athlete Tech Group and Training Ground. He'll be in here, and he's a first-time father. His son actually just turned 1 last week, so we'll get some insight from that, and then we'll break it down. But yes, episode 36, it's an open discussion, so feel free to ask questions. I'm encouraged and tell everybody, get a notepad and pen, because think about it, 10 years ago, there was information like this. There wasn't a platform like keeping it real, and you know?
You got to get on. You hear so much things that often you want to jump on and get a chance to be part of, and these opportunities, you never want it to pass you. You know, so much opportunities passed us, but it comes to times where we got to start being diligent and deliberate in some of the things that we want for ourselves. And when you have platforms like this, and people giving out information to potentially change your perspective or change the trajectory of where your life is heading, it's a great opportunity.
And on top of that too, we're in a time and era where we have no choice. Like, whether you have kids or not, your future kids are dependent on this.
Yeah.
And if you have kids, your kids not even dependent, because they're already dependent to you, but they're looking up to you. So you got to make the decision that's best for you. And you know, what do you say? Crazy. 10 years ago, we were mashing up. Oh yeah, Jamaica, JCA. We're 10 years ago. Time flies. So shout out to everybody that I've either worked with, made money, business, great events, great concerts. I think Toronto's the best city in the world, literally. Like when you look at everything going on, even with the prices, like I saw them do this last week they were talking about how even the rent prices downtown are skyrocketing. But with that happening, somebody's smiling on the other end of it. You know, if you're renting out your property, a lot of people are getting back to work. They got to live downtown. They got to work downtown. So they're making the necessary changes to be downtown. But somebody's benefiting from it.
Well, there's in the other side, like in every kind of chaos, there's opportunity for one, right? That's how life is. You just gotta eventually work on yourself to make sure you're the other side of the coin, because it does get tough. It is getting tough. Like we all know what's going on with the recession. I mean, if you know anything about inflation, like there's this debate online saying it's the corporates, the owners who are not allowing the price of gas to go up. It's not like they're buying the gas. It's just kind of how to. That's how the inflation ball kind of rolls, where you kind of like you go with the flow, like kind of a thing. But everything affects everything else, you know. Like I just said, you want to be on the other side of the coin when situations like this are happening.
100%. And this is why these open discussions and these things that are happening. I watched this interview with Gucci Man, and he was talking about even just in the fitness aspect, why he choose that route. And he's like, yo, 90% of the world don't even work out. There's like a 5 to 10% number of people who are fit. And if I can fit in that percentage, then I'm outworking everybody.
Well, it's called distributed production. In any given hierarchy, there's a subset of people in anything, in any kind of domain. You always hear about the top 1%, the top 5%, whatever it may be. In any kind of thing, there's just people that separate themselves from the crowd. And truth is, time and time again, have shown that those people are what things often works out for. I found out a Q stat, a Harvard study that said they found about 1,100 men and 1,100 men, and they let them do push-ups. And there was a correlation, and a correlation doesn't mean it's the cost of it, but there was a correlation. The men who were able to do 40 push-ups were at lower risk of cardiovascular, any kind of disease, right? So these are the people that take care of themselves, that are like in well shape. 40 years from now, after it's like a long attitude study where they just following them for the time period, and they were to be able to see the correlation between like just being able, if you're in health, if you're in good shape, just doing 40 push-ups, you are at a 98% lower risk of any kind of like heart disease or anything along those lines. And like that's what we talk about, but but people call it luck, right? People don't understand some of these things. Now, the people who make the sacrifice to get into real estate in times like this, while other people's rent are going up and their mortgages are going up on the other end, but like you just mentioned, they're the other side. It's their monthly potential income that's increasing, and eventually the inflation will go back down, so they'll be on the surplus of 100% of rental income. But people also call that luck. But people have planted their seed and bearing the fruits of their labor now.
And big shout out Hung Shing T.O., one of the staple businesses in this city, showing some love to that comment. And it's not we're not in easy times right now, but you're either gonna get stuff done or you're gonna make excuses.
Yep.
So the choice is up to you. Right, you can either complain about it or do something about it to work on it. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, but I saw a quote that when it came to gas, that usually we'll be able to smell gas. Now we're not even smelling gas. So what are we putting in our cars?
That was a good joke.
And you know what I mean? I went to the gas station. I'm like, damn, I don't smell this. I may have to make sure I ask somebody else too to make sure I'm not the only one. But
that's a good joke. That's a good one.
I don't know. We're in crazy times right now.
Or it could be the side effects of COVID. We lost our sense of smell.
Yeah, right. That's why I had to ask somebody else too to double check. It's funny. I'll be looking at my credit card statement and I'm literally just seeing the gas stations one by one. I'm like, damn, I never used to.
Tough times, tough times. It makes something of you, but it's. Like we've been preaching the last 2 years, like, things could get worse, and it's actually getting worse, and it's kind of like the things that we talk about, it's, you gotta get serious. Like I said at the time, because some people are seriously not serious. You gotta get serious about your life, because you're not exempt from some of the things that's happening to all of us. You're not exempt from it. You gotta really hone down on some of these things and now make sure that you're on the other side of the coin when the coin flips again.
That's so well said. And to even think about it, it's like right now it's the best time to figure out what you want out of life. Think about ahead, the 3 months, 6 months. if you're starting, if like this is something new to you, then you might want to start small so that it becomes a habit. You don't want to just rush yourself, and because sometimes how can you think about 6 months if you really got to plan your month to make sure that you're ready to get there? But it's good to plan ahead.
It is good to plan ahead, and that's something that I was just writing down earlier. Is like if you're getting started, if you're in a hole, the best thing that you can do is stop digging, literally, and maybe start to find tools that could work on you getting to find a way to build a ladder, build other kind of source. But if you're digging a hole, if you're constantly putting yourself in the exact same predicament, just stop. Just, you know what I mean? Just stop for a sec. You know, analyze a few things.
And you know, this weekend we were able to drop off the laptop to our giveaway winner. And she was so excited. We took a video and we asked her, what are you going to do with the laptop? She's like, honestly, I'm going to learn about finances now. Like, I have no excuse now. I always wanted to buy, like, it was crazy. We spoke, she like, I always wanted to buy a laptop. That's why I went so hard. And sometimes when you're determined, like, there was an opportunity presented to her and she made sure she went the hardest. She won. Her hard work made her win so in life, it's the same thing. There's work you're gonna have to do if you want to attain certain things.
And it's not even so much as our platform giving away, but like do what you can with all you have, right? Maybe she didn't have the financial means, but like she just said, she went hard in the comments. We see how devoted she is in the contest, right? So it's like, it's not always about money. People are like, I need money to start my business. It's gonna cost you more, right? Ideally, you could just go to work, get maybe $1,000 not to deal with posting and reposting and following Max the speaker. And shout out to people that follow, but I mean, it might not require that, right? But sometimes you may not have the opportunity to have that $1,000, that $10,000 to start your business. And you might have to go door to door because you can't build up your IG page, because you can't hire a creator or somebody to run your social media account, and you're having difficulty with this. So you have to do the groundwork, right? Because we're not all born with the exact same gift. We're all unique and have gifts, right? And sometimes you don't have the money to get somebody started, so it shouldn't be the only excuse for us not to go somewhere. Opportunity will present itself, and when the opportunity presents itself, do everything you can with all you have, right? And like I just said, so we got to accept that we might not get the results that we needed, that we want, right? Because I'm pretty sure she probably wasn't the only one that needed a laptop. Not everybody could win, and somebody potentially may have just went as hard, whatever, but wasn't getting the chance to get picked. And that's how life is: equal opportunity, not equal outcomes. That's why I think it's important that every time we do something for ourselves, it's understand that we have the opportunity to do something, but we may not even get the outcome that we're looking for.
Well said, trust me, I know that hit close to home. But it's even like with the gym. Today I had a real talk with my trainer, and like, you know, things are doing good. My weight is going up in terms of like what I'm pushing, but there's certain things I know I gotta do and cut out. Like we talked about it today, where it's like, yo, you may go out, you're not drinking as much, but you're taking that shot. That one shot, think about it, Thursday to Sunday, it adds up. So there's just something else you gotta do. It's gonna require more work, you know. So,
and even being on your side, I should just know, like, you being like in the nightlife, whatever, is like, even that just working out, one of the important pieces is sleeping, like getting a good quality sleep, like that alone. So it's like, you know, yeah, you go to the gym every day, but understand you might not get the exact same result as everybody else because of the other things that your body's not capable of doing. Some people feel great after 6 hours, 8 hours of sleep, right? But understand stuff, it's all about equal opportunity, not equal outcome.
And let me see DJ Outbreak. In the end, that jumps the loop, the education that is genuine sharing of our information is a blessing, especially when interacting with others. And that's, I'm not gonna lie, this weekend, it woke up another beast out of me, because to be able to be in a position, sometimes we forget. Like, when she opened the door, her kids ran up, like she's she has real life. She's like, oh, don't mind them. I'm like, nah, this is actually good. Like, I'm happy to know that you're doing what's best for you and that we can help. And there's others, and like, you know, she kept going on about how the platform is helping her. Like, she's like, yo, you don't understand, I need to hear this on a weekly. Like, I have to press play, I'll be cleaning. I was like, damn. Sometimes we're not really telling ourselves that because we're doing it, but to hear from the others, it's a blessing to be in a space where we're at, to be able to give back to the community. And that's what I love about this. And you know, it gets no better than Motivation Mondays, just doing this on a Monday. And like we said in our slogan and in our motto, which is, you know, getting people to understand self-purpose, passions, and finances while we're having this discussion. But the risk factors about investments, There's a lot. And there's a lot of, when there comes to investments, there's so many different type of investments. You know, we could talk about stocks, we could talk about real estate, we could talk about there's so many different types. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we want to get into the specifics or we want to get into like.
Well, I'll speak for my I'll say my minimal expertise in what I do. Like I know, I'm not gonna sit and talk about how you should do stock, day trading, and whatever, you know. But investment in itself is, you know, it speaks for itself. Is the action or the process investing into something to gain a profit or a material result, right? That's the actual definition of investment is. And like for myself, I do a lot of the angel investments, meaning the startup businesses, you know, helping with the funding, getting them to kick off their feet, because it's greater potential. But when there's a much needed, not much needed, when there's much space, when there's much room of growth, understand there's much room of risk, right? When you start up in a startup business, is to get established, to get known is very difficult. Everybody that's watching this with any kind of business idea, shoot me a text. I'm always listening to great ideas. So shoot me a DM, we could have a further discussion. I'm also into real estate. It speaks for itself. One of the greatest advice I ever got was to invest into real estate, because he told me, he's like, there's one thing on piece of this earth that they can't make more of. And that's real estate. And that's before crypto came on. That's kind of like some of the appealing thing about crypto, the set amount of coin that you can actually get. So it's kind of like the same thing. So I'm into real estate. I'm into short-term money investments, personal loans, and angel investments. So those are my expertise. My bread and butter, what I say, will be real estate and angel investments. And like with that, like I just said, anything with room of massive growth, understand there's room of massive risk. Because you invest in somebody's business, more often than not, most people don't know it. Nobody comes up with a brand new idea. Like all the ideas already been invented. What you try to do is make an idea better. Right? And when you deal with people that find something new, creative people, and I said this on the platform before, it's difficult to work with somebody who's creative, because they're just always thinking of another idea and also thinking how they can make their idea great. And as an investor, you're thinking like, I don't know about the next one. How about we get this one
out of the way, and then,
you know, let's get this one going. Let me get my money back on this one. But that's one of the things, you got to find a balance where you could work with people, you know?
And to our YouTube family, and even the people who are on our IG Live right now, we keep the IG Live just to let everybody know that we are on, but we encourage everybody to watch on YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure you do subscribe to our channel, Motivation Mondays Live, and you can watch it live. Me and Wavy were at an event last week, and I actually realized that, we got to talk to people, because I talked to everybody. We got about like 10, 15 new subscribers. They know about Motivation Mondays, but we got to make sure they're not subscribing.
Don't trust your memory, right? Don't trust your memory. Everything makes a difference. The day to day, like, it's not, everything makes a difference, but it's not what you put in that day that's going to give you that results, right? Because anybody understands delayed gratification, accumulated situations and circumstance eventually turns into either a blessing or a disaster, right? So it's that the little things, you just never know the impact, you know? Some people may support you visually, and then you ask them, like, I ain't following this whole time I was. It slipped your mind. Don't trust your memory. That's what we talked about. That's why we talk about having a book, writing some of these things down. And when the idea is hot and the feeling is strong, act right away. When the idea is hot and the feeling is strong, act right away. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, we all been in love before, and then when we don't act on it, eventually it's suppressed. And that's kind of like the new tactics. That's kind of like the new tactics people do now. They'll like you, they won't mention it, and then they hope eventually. But when you don't confront, will grow strong, especially if you're deliberately ignoring it. Right? You'll be safe if you ignore it unconsciously. But if you're deliberately ignoring it, it doesn't go. Because you know it's there. You're trying to put something to plan. It's just one of those. There's a term for it, but it's just one of those where they say, don't think about white elephant. Now you got a white elephant all in your head, like, what's going on? Like, so you can't deliberately ignore stuff. It has to be unconscious. So be very careful with the mind. The mind is a great thing. It's such a powerful tool.
Trust me. Yesterday I was at this event and they had like animals, like, so the snake. Mm-hmm. And I was doing a video. You know, if anyone who has my snap, you know, I make sure the snap is in a way where it encourages everyone to watch more. So I was talking about the snake, not knowing that when I turned around, the guy heard me, so he thought I was trying to get the snake on me. So he was trying to come, and in that moment I was like, yo, I'm not doing this on camera. And it's in life, you gotta face your fears sometimes. Some of these things to you right now, we're talking about real estate, to you might be like, damn, I'm in debt, I need to get, like, that's the last thing that's on my mind. But you gotta get that big elephant in the room. Eventually you're gonna get there if you want to get there. If you prepare and you start to like thinking about somebody at home right now, they have this great idea. Because you tuned in, you're able to hear Max talk about, shoot me a DM if you have an idea.
Literally, like, even if you don't have it formulated, just to get somewhere started, for somebody to point you the right direction, right? Some people have difficulty just even registering a business or anything like that, or they're stuck. We all have roadblocks. That's the great thing about working in groups. Somebody could pick off an idea and you could actually collaborate and make it work better. Because you might have a point of view or something, and then you have a block, like a mind block, like, okay, how do I overcome this? What do I need to do? And then boom, just by even opening your mouth, you have opened your brain to allow more to get in, right? So it's important to, like, just talk out, have a different attitude towards life.
Literally. And sometimes you're gonna set goals and they may not happen. Like, I remember I set a goal for the week. I didn't accomplish the goal I wanted to, but I got halfway there. And I'm still here. So and
you're in a better place than where you were when you started with zero.
Way better.
Way better.
way
even
better.
Just a name. Like, after I find so many people having difficulty just saying this is the name that I'm going with, right? It's just a little step that you're not in the exact same place that you were yesterday.
And that's well said. Some food for thought from Max. And shout out everyone that's joining us on the YouTube IG Live once again. If you're on IG Live, feel free to share this out to somebody that's in your circle, somebody that you may have went out with this weekend. You're having these discussions and conversations with, and you never know, you can help somebody out. And to our people who are tuning in all over the world, I want to take this time to actually shout you guys out, because I've been seeing some amazing different countries that I never even heard of, never thought they would have any ties with, but they're tuning in and watching religiously. So India is going crazy right now on Motivation Monday. So a big shout out to my guy. I met him at the gym, and probably one of the best things. I got to start talking to the outsiders, literally. And I know Wavy keeps talking about this, but we're going to do it consistently so we get there. We made a barcode as well too. So I'm going to start making sure I have that on my clothes and whatever I'm wearing to go out, so that you can scan it and you'll be able to pop into what we're actually doing. I think my Wi-Fi is probably done. Got into it, but it's 11:17. Usually, Peck was good. Usually we do our affirmation at 11:11, but our information that we're giving out just now was just going good. Now my internet's coming. There we go. So we'll be good. I'll be able to get into our affirmation. So I'm gonna get into it right now, and it's simple. I can accomplish anything. I am filled with positive energy today. The doors of opportunity always open for me, and I am a winner as success is in my blood. I'm gonna repeat that again, and then we'll have a conversation. I can accomplish anything. I'm filled with positive energy today. The doors of opportunity always open for me. I am a winner as success is in my blood. Let's break that down. I find it a little funny though, because sometimes you gotta jinx yourself. Like, even if for the last 2 years things haven't been going good, if you start to say these affirmations out, I guarantee you, with some action towards the affirmation.
If you're not deluding yourself, if you know you're not lying to yourself, because your mind knows you best. Your mind knows if you're, excuse me for my language, if you're full of shit. But if you start to say some of these things and you start to act it out, believe in what you're actually saying it to yourself, and you can start aligning. Like, how would somebody who's success in their DNA conduct themselves? How would somebody with success in their DNA act when the opportunity presents themselves, right? Mm-hmm. How is somebody with positive energy handling themselves in this manner? So if you're just saying these things yourself and living a totally different life from what you say, then that's what I talk about, owning yourself, that promise. Because often or not, we hold people at a higher standard than we hold ourselves, right? So that's one of those things where you got to hold yourself at a higher standard than you hold anybody else. So when you're saying these things to yourself, you really, really acting it out. You're going to start to really believe it, right? The doors of opportunity always open for me. Okay, so how do you act yourself accordingly? What did you do when the doors of opportunity opens for you? right?
And your quote that you just said about how we hold other people to an upper standard than to our towards ourselves. Why is that?
Because we will always accept ourselves and our flaws, right? We can't accept it from anybody else, right? You said something to me, I hold you at a higher standard because I expect you to go through what you say you're gonna do for me, or else you have compromised what my worth is, what I believe in you about yourself. But if it's me, I'll always change the rules for myself. I'll always alter it. And we do it, and believe it or not, we also do that to our loved ones too, the ones that we deeply, deeply care about, give them the chance over and over and over. But we do that for ourselves. We can make all the excuse in the world, right? It's also something called attribution biases, where if something happens to you, I'll say it happened to you because of who you are. I blame it on an internal factor. But if something was to happen to me as external factor. If we both showed up here on Motivation Monday, I would say it's because of traffic, right? Why I didn't come here on time. But I'll turn around and blame you and say, Ebon didn't get here on time because that's the type of person he is. He's always late. And that's how we always deal with ourselves. So we're always going to make excuses for ourselves, but hold other people at a higher standard. That's how humans are.
And you know what's so funny? This weekend is I word that I'm really a good person, because if I tell you I'm gonna do something, or for instance, I say I'm gonna give you some money, or I know I'm gonna do this, or there's some deal we have, I'm gonna hold my end of the stick. And this week I was laughing because everybody who was supposed to do something for me didn't hold their end of the stick, and I'm like, but why am I the person that has to hold and be with integrity? And you know what? You may be like that. There may be people who be like that, and it's like, nice people finish last, and at the end of the day, if you stick to your word, because at the end of the day, all we have is our word, right? In this life. And if you're a person with integrity and a person that's a man or a woman of the word, it may suck sometimes because other people aren't holding up to it. But there's more of a better result for you later on in the future by being that person. It may suck in that moment, because it did suck. I was literally holding my end of the stick with everybody who I said I was going to do something to, while on the other side, what I'm dealing with, people aren't holding their end. I'm like, damn, I guess it's easier to be like them, but I don't want to be that guy.
You gotta honor your words with integrity, regardless of what anybody else is doing, right? You matter. You're the man of your words, right? Start to make yourself matter. Start to treat yourself like you're somebody responsible for yourself, right? So it doesn't even matter what other people don't do. It's about how you react, right? Because we can't change situations. We could change how we conduct ourselves in situations. That's it. That's the only thing. So if people don't hold if people don't hold their end of the stick, that has nothing to do with you. But you got to be accountable. You got to be a man of your word, right? Integrity is everything.
And this is going to lead us to our next point in the conversation, because I was talking to my mentor and I was like, yo, bro, what is it with me? Am I the problem? Like, how could somebody have something for me and, they're not giving me what they have, but how did I get myself in this position? And then he literally broke it down. He's like, yo, you probably got caught up in the joy of whatever that situation, how it sound. Did you think about the risk factor? Did you think about the potential of what if this doesn't come through? And I had to laugh. I'm like, nah. I just looked at the percentage and I'm like, yeah, I like the percentage. I'm going for this. It's like, yo, that's where you messed up. It just sounded good to you.
What's sweet in the mouth tastes bitter in the stomach. It's one of those things where you're quick to jump at opportunity before analyzing the whole situation. And there's a debate in our chat talking about whether or not nice people finish last or not. So if we really want to get technical into it, I think what we're more looking at is often people who are pushed around. There's a personality trait called being agreeable, right? It's not that they finish last. So when often people are agreeable and they get into a negotiation, any kind of table, their standouts at its very least is 50-50, right? That's at the very least, right? They don't speak much for themselves, right? And then you have those who are disagreeable, or those people who are for themselves, talking about what I need to get out of a deal, right? They gotta walk out of winning something. So when we talk about being nice, it's like, be honest, tell people what it is that you want. But people that have these, I don't want to say attributes of being moral, of trying to be fair, right? People are in the water are going to take advantage of you, right? Because That's a personality trait people tend to deal with. You know, shout out my boy JR. He says I'm nice and I'm not like. I'm not like. See, one thing about I know him personally. One thing is about learn to negotiate. We talked about negotiating even wages, right? You know, learn to be assertive. Learn to be assertive. You know, it's not nice people finish last, but make sure that your point is being said. Right? Make sure your point is being said. If you constantly allow people to tell you how things go, then you eventually will never get anything that you want for yourself.
It's
So
true.
it's just people who are more agreeable. It's not that they're nice. We say they're nice because we get to push them around. Like it's literally like it's a personality trait. That you get to push them around, get to tell them what it is, that how they should take it and what it is that they should do. But nice people do not necessarily finish last.
Well said. And the word that I'm gonna take out of that conversation was we think like the word fair.
Yeah. There's people that negotiate that says at the bare minimum, although I can't get what I want, at its very worst, let's do 50-50. And then there's people who don't even want to do 50-50. Right? They're just in it for themselves. And those are the people that often we find over the top. And if you come across somebody who's agreeable, these are some of the advantages that often people take of them, and then be like, nice people finish last. I think that's what really that stems from, because they're nice, pleasing people.
Yes, let me see what we got in here. The guys that are too stern don't blossom. And it's true, that's why I'm not too worried.
You gotta learn to negotiate. That's all that stems from. You gotta learn to negotiate. You gotta learn to negotiate. I have a quote. Your every negotiation is you gotta find your boundaries, and you gotta find the boundaries and find where both parties could align.
It's true. And to my people in the YouTube, make sure you click that like button. I see a couple people, the people watching and the likes, it's not adding up. So if you're watching, make sure you click that like. Make sure you subscribe. Last month we were trying to get to 200. We surpassed 250. I'm trying to get us to 300 subscribers and then to 500. So we're definitely 33 away. So to all our new people that are coming in, if you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening to us onto the IG live or you're here or in front of us, make sure you click that subscribe button, turn the post notifications on.
So I talk about being an angel investor. I just want to read out this quote here, and sometimes it's about taking less for the relationship, right? If you feel like something is great, okay, here's one thing there. So people often talk about 50-50, I need to get 50% of this in any kind of deal, right? But sometimes 30% deal on a longevity or relationship will be much better than you arguing about that 20%, right? Sometimes your additional 20% may not come in a monetary thing, meaning it's not numbers, it's not money, but it's a relationship. It's other bigger business plan that you have there. Like, you know, I see that bigger plan that you have there. That's what it's often is really about. So don't get caught up in trying to break it out even. I gotta, you know what I mean? It's balance. Life is much more complex. It's not black and white. Don't be agreeable. Don't be a pushover. But don't be so disagreeable nobody wants to work with you.
Key.
Right? Don't be agreeable. Don't be a pushover. There's something that you got to stand up for and fight for. Be assertive. Say your point. Even if your point is not agreed upon, understand that your point was laid out on the table. Right? And this is what you wanted. Right? But don't be so disagreeable nobody wants to work with you. Sometimes there's been wars. There's been battles that I lost to win the war. I got into dealing with angel investment, dealing with hard money lending, short-term loans, right? Even dealing with my tenant issues, because right now, part of everybody knows the government income interest rate is going up. If you have variable mortgage like myself, your income is going up, and I'm coming out of the pocket a bit more. And there's laws in place where you can't just tell your tenant they need to pay you this more unless it's based on renovation or something like that. But negotiating, coming to terms with one party, and if it's for a loss now, for a gain later, it's worth it in most cases, right? Don't be so agreeable where you're just pushed all over, and don't be so disagreeable where nobody wants to work with you. It's about a balance, right? Not everything is monetary.
How do you change your stuff to get fixed?
So from what I know, depending on how you sign your contract, if you're locked in 5 years, you're locked in 5 years from when you sign it, right? Sometimes it might be open. Call your mortgage agent and then maybe call the bank directly and see if it's possible. But over time, I know people are panicking because I know in the pandemic, people got convinced to do variable. But since, what's the term I'm looking for here? Since I believe at 40 or so years, variable has always been cheaper than fixed, right? It's just that we're getting part of the times where the one time it happens. But I tell people don't panic, you know what I mean? Find other ways to accumulate some type of income or something, you know? So say your foot in ground. Let moments like this break you, because you can't jump off the boat every time there's a leak.
Facts.
Right? You can't jump off the boat every time there's a leak, because eventually the variable rate will be better than fixed rate. And then what you're gonna do? Jump off the boat all the time? One time you jump off the boat, you might just jump the wrong time and sink. Right?
No life jacket,
you
no
know,
protection.
literally. So you can't just jump off the boat every time there's a leak. But talking about investments, about risk factors, that's one of the things that I tell people: know your risk tolerance. What could you afford to lose? Does age matter? As you get older, you have to be more conservative, right? Because there's people you got to take care of, right? But as you're young, you know what I mean? When I see the young guys and who has no liabilities coming out of school, they live with their parents or whatever, and like they don't got to worry about how much money they need at the end of the month, I'd be like, if I was young, I'm going 100% all in. This is not no financial advice. I just want to make a disclaimer, but this is just kind of like some kind of mindset, like, you know, that I have, that I encourage people to have, that when you have nothing to lose, like, put it all on now. I don't mean go have risky investments where you potentially lose your money, but how much of your money are you putting towards investments? If you have no liability, no kids, you're a young age, and the other option is to spend it on foods, dates, and other things, that you got to decide. I say you got to go all in for a potential creative future, right? But if you have kids, if you plan on getting married, right? If you have a partner, I'm not going to tell you take all your money 100%, because once your money go down, once all that money is out, your wife is also out. You know what I mean? So I just want to literally. So you got to know yourself. You got to know your risk factors, right? Your family dynamics. What could you afford to lose? Like, you know, and that's one of the things. So I hope I answer your questions about calling. You know, just don't be jumping out the boat each time there's a leak. You know, sometimes it might need you to sit in there, get the extra wood, and patch it up yourself and hang in there. And that's what I think I decided to do. I wasn't panicking with the rates. It's bothering me, but I thought of a great idea of finally this being my opportunity to go renovate my basement. Because although, I'll tell you straight up, so this is what I plan to do. Although I can't increase my rent, however, I could go renovate my basement, is to get somebody else to rent the basement that could subsidize the potential income increase of my mortgage. However, that won't be forever, right? The variable rate will go less, and I'll still be getting that potential separate entry, potential basement income, right? So it's just a wait. Don't jump off the wagon. I'm gonna let it stand. How long? What was the question? How high can they rise to? They're saying, from the last time I read, the Bank of Canada plans to increase the bank interest about 3 more times. So I think they do so every 3 months, and I believe there's actually 2 more times. I believe there's 3 more before the year is done. So expect your mortgage payment to increase 2 more times. Once again, don't take my advice. I'm not a financial advisor. If it's something that you cannot afford, and maybe you might want to go renegotiate and get into a fixed mortgage, then so be it. But if you have room, I just encourage people, don't be jumping off your boat each time there's a little leak on the boat, a little panic, because it's not gonna be forever. It's a little reset. We'll be all right.
And a big shout out to my guy Steven Mensa, who's tuned in. He's part of the TO Youth Cabinet. They actually have a great event coming up, and I met the Justice Fund over the weekend at Hoop Queens, and they want to help and sponsor us. So the Justice Fund is basically, they speak for people who come out of the justice system or are in the justice system. So they're always putting their money. That's OVO 40. So I met his partner over the weekend, and OVO partner, as you know, he showed Motivation Monday some love and supported us with some insights in the past. So I'm excited to work with them too. But I want to shout out my guy Steven Mensa, who we'll have on here too one day. He's a Ghanaian guy, doing a great job with the government and the officials, making sure mental health is getting to the schools. And it's always great to know our brothers are in position to help. So there's an event that we got coming up with Brandon Gomez, and he lined all of that up. So kudos to you. We're glad to have you, and everybody else too. We have so much work in store. I can't wait to connect Steven with Max, 2 great Ghanaian brothers. And as we're talking about what we're talking about, it's so important to get around like-minded people who understand this. Like, when I look back on my life 4 years, 5 years ago, when I wasn't really connected and tied with you, there's certain things that weren't going good for me. And now that I am, I'm happy. Because anytime I'm making money, I'm like, yo, how much can I make that I can dash aside and that's the next investment?
There's an open, when people have their eyes closed, they don't really often see. There's this thing where it said, people are like, if I had more money, I have a better plan. No, the thing is, if you had a plan, you have more money, right? Not that I'm saying that money fixes everything, but I'm saying eventually, and somebody mentioned it earlier in the comments, but if you have a better plan, you have more money. People are sitting there and they don't want to do the little things. It's not the money that's going to fix your problems, right? It's actually having a plan. It's connecting. There's so many people that come here with great ideas. I said it over and over. We do mentoring program. I encourage people. There's a few people that also are investors looking for startup businesses. Like, there's so much things there for people to do. Act. Failing to act is worse than just even having an idea. Once you know, you got to act upon your ideas. Right? Share your information. Talk to people who are doing things in the line like yourself. If you're not sure about something, just ask the information, right? Because sometimes we can't get out of the hole ourselves, right? Get some help, right? See people with alternative plans. See people with great ideas, right? Other ways to look at things. Because the perspective that we have on life is we're looking through a small, dirty window, literally, from a different house, and we all have that same kind of perspective.
Well said, and thank you to everybody who went and made sure they liked. If you're listening on IG Live, please do us a favor. I know some people are actually driving. One of my boys, he always tags us and he's driving while he's either watching the live or the YouTube, or we have some nurses who are working, they got their AirPods in. So kudos to you if you're on the job. Make sure you do focus. I know you got to hear the gems, but don't get too caught up. You get yourself a little in trouble, but we encourage the love and support that keeps coming. And in this life, what I realized, even I had to tell myself the other day, like we talked about earlier, you can make all the excuses to why things aren't going good, why things aren't happening. You gotta eventually just sit up. Like I'm wearing a sweater. You gotta zip up your sweater and just put your head up high and get stuff done.
Honestly, I'm not here to take out the other factor that circumstances don't matter. Some people do need a social assistance. Some people are born in some circumstance or predicament that doesn't allow them the opportunity to even get a chance, right? If you grew up in a bad neighborhood, there's no jobs in your neighborhood, and you don't have a car because you can't. It's a cycle that often people can't get out of, right? You live in based on your income, you're going to live in a low-income neighborhood, and those low-income neighborhoods often don't have jobs and opportunity. Then you don't have a vehicle. So I'm not here to take that away from anybody, but we know one thing. Nobody's going to come save you until you save yourself, no matter how hard it is. Your story might be harder than mine, but I guarantee somebody's story is harder than yours, right? Until you lace up people that cape on yourself and understand, I got to save myself, and under these predicaments and social obstacles, environment obstacles, I still gotta do what it is I gotta do for myself. You have no chance. And we live in a society where it's inclining all of us. We all do it. I try not to do it, but it's a subconscious thing where we only want to help people that help themselves. So until you put on your cape and say, I'm ready to do what it is I need to do, maybe nobody will ever come save you. Shout out Murphy. You see, one of those things that we talk about, connecting with the right people, all your financial questions, about life insurance, about investments. Like if you're not able to do investments on your own, but like I said, great minds. Like you want to get into investments, you have no idea, and you might hear me or other people say, I don't do my investment through the bank because the rates are not good enough. But if you're somebody that were never making money, never made any kind of investments on the positive side, getting 3% a year is much better than the position that you're in now. And even those people in debt, here's another thing. Paying off your debt is an investment with a gain, simply because you're no longer paying that monthly interest, right? And it's like people don't often look at it like that, right? They'll come to me and they have, yes, Murphy, you see you. You guys follow me if you need any kind of financial advice about life insurance, just, ask the question. Is free. You never know what kind of ideas might come to you, right? And you're not obligated to do anything, right? It's just get their information, because at one point I didn't know, and you got to know their information, right? We get on this platform, there's so much that we talk about, so much things going on, but finding people that are expertise in that field, they can give you the in and outs. He knows much more than I know, but go get that information. But back into what I was saying about people having money, looking for opportunities, and they might have debt, and no opportunities presenting itself. Paying off your debt is a form of gain, because now you're not paying that additional interest that you be paying every month. that's a win. That's a gain, right? So at its very least, you're not in negative. You're at zero, right?
And even if like it's debt where there's no interest, maybe with somebody still paying that off because you get that out of your chest, you're able to do what you gotta. You don't have to think too much about that stuff.
Yeah.
And I see the comments and people that are joining us right now. We're having an open discussion. We're talking about the risk factors about investments. We're in June, right? So once July hits, we got about 5 more months into the year. So we're prepping even with ourselves for what we're about to do, because there's a lot of stuff that we as Motivation Money, as a group, we got to do to take this to another level. So it's not what you guys are used to, where it's at the IG Live or YouTube. There's going to be more. Like I said, next week, our Father's Day special, we'll have a special guest.
Yes, I encourage the men really tune in, get that perspective, because I don't want to get into the sexist debate, the gender thing, but I think we need men speaking out. We need men talking about mental health. Like, the females are killing us, gentlemen. They're killing us. They're the fastest growing entrepreneurs. Not a competition or anything, but we all have in-group preference. We all have in-group preference. We all want to succeed. You gotta step it up. You gotta set an example for the young men.
Facts. And also to the women, tune in so that you can get and see the mindset or hear from men. Sometimes you got to hear from other people, so it's good. Two-way street. Make sure we support, because when there was Mother's Day, the man number there. We seen it live in there. So shout out to Tessa. Our guest was Tessa. And you just gave me ideas. So as we're prepping and putting clips out there, because I'm trying to get back onto it, I'm going to bring up some clips from Mother's Day to post on our page as we lead up and get ready for our Father's Day special.
That's what conversations do, right? That's why I encourage people, voice your opinion, see how you feel. Great ideas, new ideas will come to mind.
We got about 8 more minutes left in this conversation. I'm going to leave this room too for people to ask questions. Shout out to JR, shout out DJ Outbreak, to our people. But we want to hear from everybody else. Make sure there's a question box on our IG Live. There's a live chat feed on our YouTube. Make sure that you use it. Don't just tune in and keep your questions in your head.
We've been talking about investments. Investment is all risky. There's no risk investment. If you do, please let me know. Like any financial advisor that tells you something is solid proof, it's already a red flag. Nothing is guaranteed. You just look over time how the numbers have been doing, study the history and see, learn collateral. There's no matter what it is,
I ain't gonna lie, I'm loving the investing game though, because I think about the time when I wasn't investing.
It's a joy. If you had, something that says some people don't have access to opportunities and they may not have the money in the world, spend it all on other things, then you can actually see the growth. And you don't put great Warren Buffett, you don't put all your eggs in one basket, but you diversify your portfolio where if something pans out, it could cover other things. And then 2 pans out, let's say you have 4 investments. 2 doesn't go well, but 2 is allow you to give you to opportunity. And then just their whole reinvest, the whole compounding. It's just kind of like a mindset. And people say, when you stop, I don't know. It started with myself wanting 1 property, and then opportunity presents itself, and I bought 2 instead. And then there was a little dip during the pandemic, and I'm like, I'm supposed to save my money to close on my 2 properties. I'm gonna jump in. It's like some of these things, and it's that sacrifice that you have to make for a better future. You know what I mean? It's that sacrifice that you have to make for a better future. Murphy here joined and says, great job, gentlemen. There's no guarantee in any investment. The mindset around our people is that we play the short-term game while the world play the long-term game. And that's exactly it.
Well said. I got a screenshot of that.
That's true. And then we talk about even... Hit up Murphy for this specific, because I personally have done life insurance, about investing through your life insurance. That could be something that you could accumulate some type of and it's like life insurance is not for you, but it's okay. It's gonna get a little dark here. Watch this. We're all gonna die. No ifs, ands, or buts.
No, that's
right. You might not be able to create something that you could enjoy and give to your kids, but we know some of the great that's something that they did. Our counterparts, that's something that they did. Through life insurance, they left some type of capital for their kids, right? So it's not like I'm saying go kill yourself and get money for your kid. But I'm saying you're gonna die. I don't know. I heard you're freezing up some people. I don't know. They look at your they assess your lifestyle, your risk assessment,
health, everything,
everything, right? And then they're able to tell you what it is. But that's something that you could leave for your kids, right? Maybe you can't get in the housing market, right? Maybe your credit is bad, but that's an investment that you could do. Because I'm telling you, you read books and books time and time again. Our counterparts have done this, and that's how people are able to create generational wealth for themselves. It may not be for you, right? If it's all, and I say this all the time, if you start living for yourself and only you, eventually you come across something that's much bigger than you, and you will quit on yourself. Right? Earlier we talked about the self-serving biases, some of the things that we do. We make all the excuse why we don't do what it is, right? And blame all the external factors. Why is it that you didn't save and done this? It was tough times and this, that. Why did somebody else do this? And you hear this all the time. The other day I seen a video where they're attacking Gary Vee because they said Gary Vee's income came from his father and he's not self-made. And he was working at his dad's liquor store. And was it Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk? I'm not sure whose story it is, but somebody got a $300,000 loan from their stepdad. And then you hear who else? They just always
Trump,
find his
the
way.
$1 million.
You know, there's always the Trump's dad gave him $1 million. People always find an excuse. Like I said, when it's other people is internal, but when it's us is external. But if I got $300,000 from my parents, I would have not built Tesla. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be honest. We gotta start being honest with ourselves. If my grandfather left me $1 million, I would have not turned on to amass what Trump did, right? And once you start to look at life for what it is that you're responsible for everything, and don't blame the self game, like there are people who could have been bigger than Elon Musk if they got $300,000 and don't have that opportunity. I understand, but that's how life is designed. That's how it always has been. So we cannot sit there and blame the blame game. You can always find an excuse why you don't have what you have or why you have what you have. No excuses. Put that cape on your life. Nobody's gonna come save you, right? If you want to save the world, get the money. Don't be protesting for somebody else to do something that you care about, right? I'm gonna say that. Don't be protesting. Don't be protesting for somebody else to do the things that you want to care about. Before Bill Gates got a chance to sit at the table and talk about world politics or anything, it's not because he knows any better, because he has the money.
Literally,
that's why he gets to talk, and you can protest all you want. You can't tell Bill Gates what to do with his money. You can protest all you want. You can't tell Jeff Bezos what to do with his money. You can protest all you want. You can't tell Elon Musk what to do with his money, right? So you can understand nobody's gonna come save you. And we have some of these people where we have the media, people feeling like you're entitled to things in this world. Nobody's entitled to nothing. Free yourself, free your mind, take free accountability. When you're young, of course you want free stuff because you put in no work. But as you get older, there's things that you gotta realize. You wanna separate yourself. There's things that separate you from others as an individual. There's things that you want yourself and you wanna be respected as an individuality. And we all like that. We all like that about ourselves, that we're different from everybody. So why is it us that we're so inclined to do the group thinking and some of these ideology that somebody else should be responsible for our lives, right? The safe nets. This does not mean that certain people's circumstances are not different. This does not mean that certain neighborhoods are much higher risk of violent crimes and something. I'm not taking none of that away. But I'm saying, if you think somebody's gonna personally come save only you and make everything perfect for you and give you that $1 million home, that I'm gonna tell you is not gonna happen. Not when the liberals are in charge, not when the conservatives are in charge, not when NDP wins, it's not gonna happen.
Well said. And as we have 1 minute left, I just want to let all our new people, whoever's joining us, whether it's your first time, Motivation Mondays, we've been doing this for 2 years. We have our YouTube page. We've just, recently got on the YouTube, recently got on the streaming platforms. I believe October, November makes 1 year for those as well too. So we're doing our part to make sure that this expands and it grows. Actually, today I'm going to be working on all the numbers from when we started at day one so that we can work on some graphs. I got to show the Justin Fund. And yeah, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. But make sure you do subscribe to our YouTube. We are 32 away now.
And for our YouTube viewers, I just want to read out this comment from the financial advisor, Murphy. He says, the mindset behind insurance is our community is for death only. It is not. You can build retirement wealth through insurance. We're just never taught about it, which is true. Get the information. You don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. It's different. Like he said it right. He said it right there himself, right? So get that information. Reach out to people. It's free to talk to people. talking to somebody is free. The first couple of times is free. And then they're working, get their information, and then you know where to start to go get the additional information.
Murphy, we gotta check your calendar. We gotta get him in there. I know Francis. I saw Francis over the weekend too. He's trying to come through, drop some gems, and then we'll get some ladies. We haven't had no guests, but maybe after next week we'll just we went 6 weeks
When is
straight.
financial month? You could dedicate a whole month talking about get some real estate, get my mortgage guy out here. People ask the difficult question: how are you able to get multiple mortgages? You know, it's possible. It's happening. People that own multiple properties happen either through creating a business. People, we get Murphy in here. Hopefully, you could talk about insurance. You know, real estate. You know, all of this. So, thank you guys for tuning in. And yes, he agreed. He said he could do it. So definitely set that up. That's something that we gotta do. You know, have that conversation, right?
Have a great day, Joe. And yeah, thanks. Slim John said, great conversation today. Thank you guys so much. If you are now just joining us, or if you're watching this, it's good blessing. If you're just joining us and watching us or having a good day, I encourage everyone to have a great day. I want to see everyone smile like blessing. That's how it goes. But yes, that's Motivation Mondays. And peace and love, everybody.
See you guys next week.